Hi there! I will spend some time traveling in Mongolia. Being a photographer and becoming more and more fascinated about DSLR filming, one of my aims is to come home from that voyage with breathtaking footage of landscape. But how do I get some footage which meets my quite high expectations, not only in composition of the pictures, but also in terms of colors, contrast and saturation? Shooting raw as a photographer, I more or less need to come home with pictures that are in focus and somehow well exposed. Browsing the web, I came across the idea picture styles could be a key for coming home with proper footage for video editing. So, I went out into the landscape to do some test shots. Well, today I'm trying to get an idea about what picture styles do outside in the country with some rather harsh daylight, sunlight. For all these shots I set the exposure manually using the histogram as an indicator for my exposure. White balance was set to sunlight for the first two river sets. In the forest I was using shadow, and for the river shot I did after sunset I set Kelvin to 7000. I was trying out with 5 different picture styles: landscape, neutral and faithful, they come right out of the camera, Marvel's Advanced and Cine Style. They are both free to download from some web resources. The idea, as I understood, of both Marvel's Advanced and Cine Style is to gain footage with a maximum of dynamic range to be able to do color grading in post. Looking pretty flat and lacking contrast, color grading in post is indeed a must. Actually, in bright daylight, landscape does the job for me right now, as I have limited possibilities in color grading using iMovie for editing. Even in the shadows of the forest, I like its look, although the more cinematic styles will give you more information in the dark areas of your picture. But when it comes to scenes with pretty low light in the after sunset shot of that river, these picture styles will help to deal with this brutal contrast between the sky and the dry part of the landscape. They will flatten that contrast and give back at least some of the information in the otherwise nearly black parts of that scenery. I don't know yet if I really like it, as the sky loses a lot of its color saturation and its luminosity. But even in iMovie you can do quite a lot about that, pushing the highlights and the saturation slider just a tiny little bit. So, how do you use the picture styles of your camera? I'm pretty keen to read or hear about. Just leave me a comment, send me an audio boo using the hashtag LearningThings.info, or even send a small piece of video that I can share. Right, thanks for watching. So I'm hoping for some nasty cloudy or even foggy weather to do some more field tests with my picture styles.